Hey guys, GhazzyTV here with another Path of Exile video, and this might be a long one, I don't know, because I'm going to take a first look at the entire list of Crucible, Spectrable minions, and the monster list is 57 new monsters. Some of these are not Spectrable, so it's going to be fewer than that. I have already picked out one of my favorites, which I have in game right now, and I will show you some gameplay footage with these in action, because I do believe that these spider-looking motherfuckers are actually going to be pretty cool to play with. I haven't made any PUBs for this yet. I'm hoping we can achieve a state of making a pure Spectre build with these things, but so far so good, at least, but they look really cool. Anyways, let's go through the list. And it's pretty crazy, actually, because we start off with everything having forged in their name, which makes this much easier to navigate through. Not. So we have the Cage Molars. These guys have a Chayula approach, which is rather interesting. First off, it's very important to point out that for some reason, these guys have capped chaos resistance. I just want to point that out. So if you're playing any poison-oriented builds, they are very resilient, specifically against chaos damage, in case you haven't noticed that already. So that's something I'd like to point out for everyone. It also means that if you're playing Mage Skeletons and using Fleshcraft, you're not going to be able to summon them because they're going to die. Because if you have more than 50 or more Chaos Rest, they actually can't be summoned because their entire life pool gets converted to Energy Shield. That's how Fleshcraft works. Anyways. So what's really cool with these guys is that they use a Cyclone. And this Cyclone is the same as Chayula, the Breach Lord, that shoots out projectiles. So these abilities here is that this is the Cyclone ability that shoots projectiles, less damage and more attack speed. And during this, it will trigger this. This is a triggerable, and this is the trigger that causes it. And they deal some very minor chaos damage. The projectiles are not really targeted anywhere. They're random, similar to how it is with Chayula. I guess you could do more projectiles and chain or something and make that work for clearing. But the problem was that they often reverted into their standard attack. Despite this not having a cooldown, they weren't always spinning. So I first thought they had a cooldown, but it doesn't. So instead, they just don't want to spin all the time. But if you have an army of these, I'm guessing the clear would actually be pretty good. But I actually believe that they would be really bad for single target in the end. But that would be the Forged Cage model. Pretty cool. I did try them. Forged Skeletons. Take a quick look at the numbers. Yeah, okay. So they're just default attacking. And then we look at the numerical values on 84. And we can then see that they are really bad at hitting, so let's just skip that. Forge Necromancers. These guys have 85% chaos resistance. Okay. Oh man, that's actually funny. It's hilarious. These guys are pretty beefy. Let's see. To the front of Blast, the damage is way bad, but they have this Revived Skeleton. I don't think this is going to be anything we can play. You'd have to play test them if there's anything I'm missing, but numerically, that's going to be bad. Exodus, the Lich Hunter, that's a no. They can't be Spectrable. Forged Skeletal Bear. Quick look at these guys. Pretty beefy in terms of survivability, 75 chaos rest. You have to keep in mind that they have 0% in the elemental rest, which can be a bit tricky unless you have elemental resistances as an explicit modifier on your bone ring and stuff like that to actually cap their rest. Normally, Necromancers would just use the Commander Darkness Ascendancy in one bone ring to bring them up to 83% resistances together with the Mastery to give them up from 75 to 83%, and that's enough to cap them. But these guys are going to require a bit more to get capped. So all of these seems to have some sort of conversion into chaos. I think that going CI this league is going to be absolutely crazy for defenses. I'm not going to lie. So they have the Cascade Impact. They have a Beast Slam. This looks very similar to Primal Crush Claw kind of play style without the geysers, I guess. And the numerical value is just worse across the board. But converts to chaos. Any monster modifier? Nothing. Doesn't seem like this is going to be anything good either. And this is normally how I initially go through Spectres, for those of you who don't know. I go through the numerical values, and I make an assumption out of everything. If anything is questionable, that's when I go in and try it out. So obviously, we're not taking into consideration the things that might be bugged, obviously. Here's the Forged Void Crawlers. Now, these are the Spectres that I'm actually using in-game. So the Forged Void Crawlers, they are beefy, tanky motherfuckers. Their damage in hits is pretty bad, but what they do is that they have this weird kind of mortar that kind of triggers for some reason. I'm not really sure how to describe this, but they're casting this ability, which is a very slow cast, which means that they will scale very well from cast speed and making them very effective in that sense. But this is a mortar ability, and because it's a mortar, they actually have shotguns, which means that the more projectiles hitting the close to each other, and then collateral splash damage overlapping, will actually make you able to shotgun with these things. So what was tested was that the greater volley support was actually able to make these guys properly splash and hit the same target. The problem is obviously speed. So I'm going to show you some real quick footage with Feeding Frenzy, Minion Speed, and Spell Echo. Take a spin down on, say, Blood Aqueducts, just to give you an idea of how this looks. I only have 2. Now imagine you having 5 of these guys. They're actually pretty fucking crazy. Let me drop my zombies out of here as well. Where are they? Where are you? Get rid of those. So I'm just saying, it's pretty beautiful. It's pretty fucking beautiful. This reminds me a lot of the Flicker Shade Spectres. I mean, imagine if you had 5 of these instead, as an example. And a little bit more speed, maybe Flesh Offering, whatever other way you want to do this. See this barrage of chaos damage? It's really hard not to like them. It looks good. It sounds good. This is just 2 of them. But as you can see, the single target is not optimal. Obviously, in this case, we're sitting on only minion speed being bad, actually. So, yeah. The single target is a little bit so-so, because if you look at the numerical values, this is based off a level 84 minion. And since GG decided that 84 is way too high for us to have Spectres, and now the highest level of Spectre we can have is level 12. It's just stupid. The Spectres you saw in action was level 72. And if you look at the numerical values of 73 that we have access to here, the numerical values of the damage output is very, very, very bad. Obviously, the build I'm playing and showcasing is not a Spectre build. It doesn't even go up to the Death Attunement node, something in the oil later. This is a Meixsell build, which has worked out very well. Anyways, I'm actually very curious to see how these guys will perform, because so far they're really good looking. And I think that if you do some proper scaling with them to actually focus their levels up, they could potentially perform rather well. The question is, are they going to be functional single target? Because I'm very confident that with enough speed, you can make these guys really comfortable for clearing. Especially when Unending Hunger or stuff like that kicks in with Soul Eater, I think they'd go fucking bananas. Maybe even bother going faster Proj to go even faster with it if you have enough damage. But again, I think that the single target is the biggest issue with these Spectres, so we'll see what I can come up with. But so far, so good, and they're my favorites. Then we have another boss, which is not Spectrable, Forged Beast. Quick look at the numbers. And this is Crucible Monkey Ice Spear. That's a pretty good damage number. Second form 600 crit chance, second form 1200 Proj speed. It's the standardized Ice Spear approach. This is a cooldown of 7 seconds. Now, I hate abilities that have a cooldown. This means that they're going to more often use this, which is barely doing any damage, and it has an inherited conversion of 75% into cold. And that's a big problem in general. I hate spells like this because of the fact that they have one ability that does tons of damage, and they just use it every now and then. And then they're completely useless in general when they don't have that off cooldown. It's not a big fan of that at all. So that was the Forged Beast, right? And then we have Forged Snake. Forge. There's a lot of Spectres we gotta go through. So here we have a 10-second cooldown of a Snake Arctic Breath doing Shield from hits always reduce action speed, 30%. They're not very tanky. They're really squishy, actually. And they don't have Chaos Rust. Holy shit, they don't have Chaos Rust. That's incredible. Damage is looking really bad on these in general. Forged Warrior. Let's have a look at these. A bit better in terms of survivability. Significantly better, actually. And then they have a Cold Abyss Slam, Water Tornado. This seems more like the Gages with a Water Tornado ability with a cooldown 13 seconds. But then they have this Abyss Slam, which I'm assuming is triggering the Water Tornado, which is what the Primal Crush class, for example, are using. Similar type of conversions as well. So I'm assuming this is exactly like that, just a different model. The problem is that you then have to compare these numbers with the Primal Crush Claw, as an example. And then if we take a look at the Primal Crush Claw numbers, at 84, we're going to compare the same level. We have the Abyss Slam. We have it down here, and then we compare that to this. It's 60% more damage, whereas they are doing 30% less damage, which is just, yeah, I don't even know. On the other hand, this causes 4 burst, which is the geysers. In this case, this is causing 8 bursts, so I'm not sure if it's going to be compensated that way. I think these needs to be a bit tested to verify if they could be be a competitive option to compare to the Primal Crush Claws. So definitely keep an eye out on the Forged Warriors. And then we have Forged Monkey. Taking a quick look at these. Then we're not going to look at them anymore. And then we're going to go to the Apes. And, okay, the Apes are better, but the Monkeys they're going to fall over if you look at them in the wrong way. Chieftain Slam. More attack damage, less damage, conversion to cold. Do they have Chaos Rust? No, but 75 cold rust. Monkey Throw. Interesting. That's a spell. Excuse me? Looks kind of awkward. The problem is that their base damage is really bad in general. 1.1k. I think that this is what's holding them back too much. I wouldn't even bother them, personally. Another boss, and then we have Frost Bearers. Let me get rid of this. Frost Bearer. Not the best survivability, but should be enough with a 60k HP. I mean, they go down to 18 and with scaling. This should be fine. Let's have a look at it. They have Ice Mortar with a 1-second cast time. Okay. Okay. Huh. This is really good damage. On a more reasonable level, it's still good damage. I wonder if these projectiles is behaving similarly to what the forged Void Crawlers are doing. I think that the Frostbearer could very well be something we're going to have to take a look at. I'm going to make a notepad of this, actually. Most interesting specters from Crucible to test. Forge Frostbearer. Yeah, damn. And then they have a 8-second cooldown Storm Trap. Flaming bolts rain down over the target area. They explode when landing, deal damage to nearby enemies. Trap lasts 10 seconds. Base duration 3. 1 impact resist. It's basically just literally fire trap, but with cold damage. Wow. Oh, this would be really cool to try. I definitely have to try this. Jesus Christ. This is with greater volley. We should shotgun, no. They definitely shotguns. Like, the only support I have for them right now is Greater Volley. Those are shotgunning. And honestly, the Storm Trap is not bad, but it doesn't seem like they want to cast it at all when they're inviting. Should have seen it by now. Nothing. They're never casting it. Okay, so their AI is basically designed to prioritize their cast and only cast the other spell if they're not. Only cast the other spell if they are unable to cast the other spell. That's why they're only casting it when they're idle, because they don't have a target to cast on, and that's when they can cast their trap, so they will. That's a really fucking stupid AI design. So basically, their AI is designed that they will cast this when they're not able to cast this. Which on paper is smart, right? The problem is that this doesn't have a cooldown, so this is always castable as long as they have a target. The reason they're doing this shit, is because they don't have a target right now. So since they don't have a target, they are now basically being told that, hey, you're supposed to cast this once every 8 seconds. Which is so stupid. But then again, I prefer Spectres that only uses one ability because it's much easier to scale. And this is a mortar. And it's not bad. I guess the problem is range on it. Never mind, I'll take that back. They just shot from here over there. Range is not an issue. I take that back. Holy shit. I have to PUB the numbers on this, though. That's the only thing left now. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh, Fritz. I think it's just PUBing numbers. The Frostbearers are really cool. Like, really, really cool. I mean, I had the Forged Void Crawler, but I'll be honest, like, theoretically, these guys look much better. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. So we have Axe Bearer. 1.5k damage output, self-explode. What the fuck? Okay, these are Wickermans. Wickerman self-explode? Crucible, Wickerman. Okay. So they have an Ice Nova that deals quite significant amount of damage. So I'm assuming that the Ice Nova is what happens on the trigger of the self-explode thingy, 10-second cooldown. I wonder if they kill themselves or if it's just a trigger thing they do. Problem is that this doesn't feel like good damage output enough with a Molten Strike. Pretty cool, though. They're interesting, but I don't think the numbers are good enough with the 1500 attack damage as a base for the this ability. The Nova is pretty cool, though, but on a 10-second cooldown? Yeah, fuck that. Demon Herder is from Beyond, but this is the Crucible version, so I'm assuming they're just stronger version of that, which is exactly what it is. I mean, you can definitely play with it. I'm not a big fan of that, personally. Crown a Demon. What do we have here? That is squishy. And no damage. Okay, never mind. Tentacle Demon. They have a monster mod. Yeah, they have a monster mod here. Physical damage converted to fire. That's 50%. Melee strike range. It's okay, so these are basically titty bitches a la Crucible. But better. Still not good enough. Forged Whip Demons. 50% chance to curse enemies with vulnerability on hit. Interesting. Interesting. Not so interesting when we see their damage, so bye-bye. Forged Maw Beasts. Now we're talking. And decent, really good survivability. What do we have here? Knockback Wave. Triggerable. Herder Vomit. Oh, it's the Herder spell again with the discuss. Okay, it's the Vomit style. Okay, we have these Spectres exist in Beyond as well. It's just literally a Crucible version with a higher numerical value. Like, we had a lot of these in Sanctum where they reused not just the skills, but also the way they look, the models, and made them worse. Now they've done the same thing, but made them better. So a lot of these things are just copies, but the problem is that their AI behavior is not good enough to bother. What was that? That was Maw Beast, right? So Berserker Beast. These are pretty bad on the damage. What else do we have? What was the monster modifier on these? Nothing. The impact. Circle, rectangle, 4% more attack damage. The damage is not enough to make this functional, especially if they go in fire. They're converting into fire as well. There's no way this is going to be good. Let's just move on then. Then we have Forge Heralds. They have monster type attack. Okay, that's useless information. Really bad damage. Tanky as fuck. Abilities compensating. Okay, so here's a 5 ability setup. The ability is taken directly from Kitava Heralds. They have a Leap Slam. The Leap Slam here is rather interesting, because if you want to compare that to Kitava's Herald, let me show you the difference. So the Kitava Heralds here, what this does is pretty insane, because it's going to be like a landing damage, if you will. Let's see if I can find it. This is the Mortar spell. This is the other one. Where's that? I think it's 100% of their fist damage added as fire or some stupid. Oh, they might have nerfed them, actually. So they're even worse. You can actually multi-strike support this, and they would leap slam multi-strike on top of the target doing tons of damage. The problem is that it has a 5-second cooldown. Either way, point being, they suck dick. Moving on. Forged Rage Demon. Haven't we looked at Forged Rage Demon already? Yeah, they were shit. Forged Stalker. What do we have here? Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. Nope. Walking Forge. I actually tested these earlier. They're pretty cool. The problem is that they had a cooldown on their decent ability. Yeah, here it is. The Mortar. This shit shotguns because it's the Mortar spell. But it's a 6-second cooldown. And when they didn't have this up, they sucked fucking dick. Okay, they were so bad. I don't even want to talk about it. The problem is, this is one way of scaling it. And this is another way of scaling it with a dot with a base duration of 2 seconds. The problem is, you can choose one or the other. And if you scale this, you might want to play something else. Thanks so much, Mr. Purple, for the prime sub. And they were just not good enough between not using this. But as soon as they used this ability, they did tons of damage. Really good damage output. But once every 6 seconds to do actual damage, not a reliable choice to play Spectres, in my opinion. And he says squid noodles, yeah. These suck dick. Don't even worry about it. They're so bad. Forge Eye, I think, follows suit. Damage numbers too low on this for hitting, but these are casters, right? Yeah, here we go. So they have Crucible Eye Fireball with a cast time of 1 second with a stupid amount of fire damage. I'm gonna add these to the list. Forged Eye. Forged Eye. So what's really cool with this is that when a spellcasting Spectre has this, they have a tendency of prioritizing casting this over melee attacking, because this is dog shit. This is so bad. I mean, look at the damage numbers with these. No. This is 84 level. They couldn't even kill a fly even if you tried. But this is pretty good damage, and you'll have to then compare how much damage this is to other abilities or other minions that we do have calculation that can work with PUB, and to try to come up with a good way to get an educated guess of how much damage output they will actually have. But I'll definitely want to look at them and how they behave, because sometimes the explosions from fireballs can be extremely big or not, and I can't see that without actually testing them. So we're definitely have to give them a try. Pierce of Demons. Let's see what we have here. 2.5k damage, stupidly good survivability. The multi-slam is very high on the melee attack range. They shoot spark. They're casters when they have this damage, okay? 6-second cooldown spark with piercing all targets. Base duration 1.5 seconds. Fire Spark. So they have Fire Spark. Okay. This is very awkward. The problem is that we have very limited ways of scaling really well fire damage with builds like this, especially if we're forced to convert the remaining damage into fire. Not sold on them enough to even try. Forge Grappler. What do we have here? Oh, these are Flicker Strike and Discharge minions. You see these in the sewers in Act 3. Forged Bat. I'm assuming these are terrible. Yep, it's just the Flame Breath ones. We've seen these in other variants in the other areas of the game as well. So that's Forged Bats. Bosses. Forged Crab. Really bad damage. Not even worth looking at. Oh, we're almost done. Holy shit, that went fast. Forged Shard Elemental. Decent enough damage. Survivability is alright. They have attack times, cast time. This is a cast with barrage projectile. Triggerable. No, okay, so these seems to be the lightning version of those chalupa spinners, basically. This is the spin they'll do, and they are most likely having the same AI, so they're gonna not do this enough to cast this, which is similar to, but yeah, no. So we can skip those. And then we have Lumbering Crab. Whirling Blades, the Leap Slam. Yeah, no, that's not enough damage to make them work. Oh, wait, there's so much more. Oh, we're almost done, sorry. Static Witch, I'm assuming this is a lightning based. Yes, it is. Damage is bad, but they're casters, right? They're not. Huh. So the damage is bad, but they have animation speed lightning, which is striking with an attack time of 1.005, and then they have a triggerable area damage wave. This reminds me of Flicker Shades. Are these a lightning-based Flicker Shade? No, because that's called a multi-slash. Because the damage numbers on this is looking hella good. I'll have to try these to get a better understanding. Forge Static Witch. Forge Static Witch. Definitely have to give them a try. Forge Deep Spawn. What do we have here? Damage number is shit. Attackers. We can skip them already. Wendigo. Let's see. 2.7k damage. What the fuck? Conversion to lightning. And this is the Flicker Strike and Enrage. I wonder if these are going to be... I have to give these a try. Forged Wendigo. Forged Elemental. As we want to test them. I'd like to test them all. I just need to make this video first to go through everything in a list. Which ones are looking promising so we know what the community can look out for. Terrible damage. Ellie Proj. Animation speed lightning. This is a cast spell, so these are the casters. I'm assuming this is similar. Projectiles return to you from final targets. No, we don't have to worry about that either. Forced Orb Elemental. They here is bad damage, but they're casters, right? Yes, they're casters. Which cannot stun enemies. Base duration. Base duration is 5. Lightning Orb. Is this like a ball lightning kind of style? Because if that's the case... Forged Orb Elemental. Forged Orb Elemental. We'll give those a try. Cannot be stunned. No, it says no. Oh, it says no. Forged Orb, I didn't see. Forged Orb Elemental cannot be spectrable. No. Oh, they actually look good though. Forged Hatchling. What do we have here? Terrible damage. Fuck off. Racer leg is yes. Let me double check that this time. Not good enough damage. Wait, lacerate the spider. Pale Seraphim style. Okay, with the bleed instead. And last four. Forge Slithering Snake. 2.4k. Puncture. Snake Spine Projectile. Definitely have to give these a try. Which I don't remember which other minion that we've used that is similar to this. I think it's those desert guys at least, but we have to try it out because these can potentially be really good. Because I know we tried a couple of desert specters in the past. Slithering Snake, and they lacked damage output, and these seems to just be copy pasta with better damage in general. Forge Spider, okay, moving on, and then Spitting Snake. Definitely moving on. That's not even close enough damage. And last, Mortar with a 5-second cooldown, and then Blood. No, these are terrible. All right, so. Out of these specters that we've seen, I've shown you the beautiful Chaos Barrage, and those were from the Forged Void Crawlers. I think that the Forged Frostbearer might actually be better. I'll have to give these a try. So, since we're doing some tests with these specters, if you have them, let me know and come over to my Twitch channel. I'm streaming pretty much every day during League launches, so do let me know there if you have them. I'd like to try them out during the coming days, and obviously once we've given these a full test, we'll obviously make an updated video to this. But from my perspective, these are the specters that I think we should give some more attention to and see if they can compete. Obviously, there's some other questions, such as if these are good enough to make a pure specter build out of, what will happen next league? Are we going to be able to get these or not? So there's a lot of questions, obviously, but first things first, let's get these tested, because I think that these are the ones that actually have some potential to perform. And I think it's really cool to see. I wish this was the case with Sanctum League, because they just copy-pasted a bunch of the models and all the assets, which I guess is good that they're reusing assets, but making everything worse was not a fun experience for any of us. In this case, they're doing a similar approach with new models, but instead what they're doing is that they're actually making them stronger, which makes it very interesting for us to work with. But again, what do we have here? We have 6 different specters that I think we have to go through and play test, and I'll be continuing testing these on stream, so swing by if you want to know, check it out. And yeah, but out of 57 minions or units, we're getting 5 potential outcomes, which are actually looking pretty promising. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's catch you guys in the next video. We're going to continue testing this. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more content. I'll catch you guys in the next one. So till then, stay safe. Keep rocking.